Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be doing a part 2 to the trivia questions video, where we're reading from Reader's Digest. So we'll do the last few categories today, and those are history, American history, because apparently they're different, animal trivia, holiday trivia, TV show trivia, and lastly, music trivia. So, I noticed in the previous video that I did with trivia questions, I spent a long time just talking without actually starting the video. So, let's just get onto it now, not quickly, but let's actually start doing the trivia questions without me yapping on for ages. So, let's start with history. Number 1. How many legitimate children did George III have? The answer to that one is 15 of them. It's crazy because I'm sure everyone knows this, but the women, the daughters, married notoriously late, or didn't marry at all. No, I think they did marry, but they married quite late, in their 40s, because Charlotte and George loved their children, and didn't want to see them go, so they hesitated to marry off their daughters, and that led to a lot of them yearning for freedom, and they never got married until they were older. And then the men never got married, but they had many illegitimate children, which I think the second question, touches on it. It says, how many people stood in a line of succession between George IV and Queen Victoria? There was 6 people, because none of the sons would produce legitimate heirs. I think the oldest son had a daughter, I think also called Charlotte. I could be wrong, and I think she died at 21 in childbirth. So then he didn't have any more kids, so then it just went down until I think the 3rd son had Victoria. I could be wrong. I just know that she was a very unlikely queen. Who was the first woman in history to die in an aviation-related incident? That is Sophie Blanchard, and it says a balloonist who died in 1812. How many people survived the 1959 incident at Dyatlov Pass? 1 person. Which fruit did many people in the Western world think was poisonous until 1820? And that is tomatoes. That's fair enough. I hate tomatoes. What did the Rains or Rainies law enacted in 1896 in New York do? It made it illegal to sell alcohol on Sundays. Which unusual substance was the primary ingredient in the laxative Lewis and Clark brought on their expedition? Mercury. In the 1830s, which scientifically gifted woman led to the coining of the term scientist, because man of science was no longer applicable? That is Mary Somerville. Where did Albert Einstein live before moving to the United States? he lived in Germany. And who invented the cotton gin? Eli Whitney. So now we're on to American history trivia questions. The bald eagle is the national bird of the United States, but in this context, bald doesn't mean hairless. The bald part of the bird's name comes from an Old English word meaning what? And that is white. Which US president fathered a child at age 70? John Tyler, the 10th president. Who performed the first solo flight across the Atlantic Ocean? Charles Lindbergh. Sorry, Charles. Who won the very first Emmy for Most Outstanding Television Personality in 1949? Shirley Dinsdale. Which US state's constitution did Congress forget to ratify when it was granted statehood, an omission that wasn't fixed until 150 years later? That is Ohio's. Which US president pardoned all Vietnam War draft dodgers on his second day in office? Jimmy Carter. I did not know that happened. That's interesting. Which US president considered funding an expedition to the center of the Earth? John Quincy Adams. What is the oldest European founded city in the United States? St. Augustine, Florida. What was the date of the Boston Tea Party? December 16, 1773. Who was the shortest serving US president? William Henry Harrison, who died on his 32nd day in office. God, that would suck. Well, dying I'm sure sucks, but I mean working so hard and then just dying. Animal trivia questions now. That's the next category. This thing here on the iPad keeps coming out, so I'm trying to hold it in with my fingers. Okay, so let's start the animal trivia questions. Number 1. How many scent receptors do dogs have in their noses? The answer is 300 million of them. How many words can dogs understand? More than 150. Sea urchins got their name from what non-aquatic animal, which was known as an urchin until the 15th century? The hedgehog. What is the gestation period for an elephant? 22 months. Wow, that would suck. What colour is a giraffe's tongue? Black, blue, or purple? What colour is a polar bear's skin? The answer is black. What is the fastest land animal? That is the cheetah. Which animal supposedly has 9 lives? The cat. How many layers of skin does a chameleon have? 4. What is the largest type of frog? And that is the Goliath frog. Now, holiday trivia questions. When I first read this category, the title, I was thinking what do you mean by holiday? But I think it means like special events, stuff like that. Because I thought maybe when they say holiday, they meant just Christmas, and I was like, well, how can you come up with that many? I guess you could, but I was just wondering how many Christmas, but no, they just mean like special events or like, celebrations. I think. So let's start. How many days of Kwanzaa are there? 7 of them. Who was the first US president to recognize Hanukkah in the White House? Jimmy Carter. What is the highest grossing Christmas movie? And that is Dr. Seuss's The Grinch. Where did Christmas originate? That was in Rome. When was the first New Year's Eve ball drop in New York City? 1907. What was candy corn originally called? Chicken feed. I think the new name has been, well, not new, but the one that we're accustomed to is probably better. How long was the first Thanksgiving celebration? That is 3 days. In what country did the tradition of the Easter Bunny originate? Germany. Which First Lady was the first to decorate the White House for Halloween? It's Mamie Eisenhower. I googled her because I wanted to know how to pronounce her name, and it says that Mamie is just like her, like either a middle name or a nickname or something, and like her actual name was Mary. From what I saw, I think. Okay, TV show trivia questions. So, what are the names of the 4 Golden Girls? Dorothy, Rose, Blanche, and Sophia. What is the Munsters' address? 1313 Mockingbird Lane. What was Lucy trying to sell during her famous commercial on I Love Lucy? Oh my god, how do you even pronounce that? Vitaminate Gemin. I have no idea what that is. What is the longest running primetime live action scripted show? Law and Order Special Victims Unit. Where did the students hang out in Saved by the Bell? And that is the Max. Where did the friends hang out in Friends? Is it Central Perk? I've never watched Friends, so I don't know. What was the name of the annoying kid next door in Sister Sister? His name was Roger. What is the name of the team Ted Lasso coaches on Ted Lasso? AFC Richmond. Family Matters was a spin-off of which other show? Perfect Strangers. In The Big Bang Theory, Penny is a waitress at which restaurant? The Cheesecake Factory. So, the final category now, which is music trivia questions. I hope that me being like quicker with the questions is better, and more, what's the word? It occupies your mind more or relaxes you more, because I finished the video before and I was like, wow, I spoke a lot. Like it felt like I barely did any actual questions. So I know I might be being dramatic, but like I just hope you guys like this video. Okay. What year was the first Grammy Awards held? 1559. Sorry, 1959. Who won the first season of American Idol? Kelly Clarkson. Who founded Motown Records? Berry Gordy. Who was the first woman ever introduced into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Aretha Franklin. What was Taylor Swift's first Billboard hit? What was Taylor Swift's first Billboard Hot 100 #1 song, and that is We Are Never Getting Back Together. Who is the only member of One Direction to win a Grammy? Harry Styles. Which classical composer was deaf? Ludwig von Beethoven. Which singer was born Georgios Kyriakos Panayiotou? George Michael. Was he Greek? I'm not sure. What was the first music video ever to air on MTV? Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles or Bugles, however that's pronounced. I know the song, but just not the band. What does the J in Mary J. Blige stand for? And it stands for Jane. So, that is the end of all these questions on the Reader's Digest website, and I hope that you guys enjoyed them. I like these ones. Even though I didn't know the answer to almost any of them, but I liked the ones from last week as well. No shade to the first website that I got them from. And by last week I mean like last video. But because I pre-record a lot of my videos, because noisy family, noisy house, I want to make sure I get a lot of them done when there's no noise, so I pre-record a lot of them. So, thank you very much for watching this video.